Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brothers and sisters, every one of us at some point carries a heart that feels heavy, a heart that whispers, I'm tired, I just want peace. And the beautiful truth is this: the one who created your heart never intended for it to remain troubled. He placed within it the ability to heal, to rise, and to find stillness even in the storms of life. Sometimes we search for peace in people, places, or possessions. Yet the heart was designed to find its comfort only with the one who made it. The moment you turn back to Allah sincerely, even with trembling hands and a broken voice, you will notice something shifting within you. It may be small at first, but it's real. It's the beginning of tranquility. A troubled heart often carries the weight of things it was never meant to hold. Let go of what is beyond your control. Leave it to Allah. When you surrender your worries to Him, you are not giving up. You are handing them to the one who can carry them better than you ever could. Never underestimate the power of gratitude. Even in the darkest times, there are blessings that surround you. When you start acknowledging them, the heart slowly begins to breathe again. Gratitude does not erase pain, but it adds light to the place where darkness has settled. Peace is also found in patience. Not the passive kind, but the patient endurance that trusts Allah's timing. The kind that says, I don't understand what I'm going through, but I know Allah is with me. Every time you stand in prayer, every time you lift your hands in dua, you are polishing the heart, cleansing it from the stains of worry and fear. My brothers and sisters, healing takes time. Do not rush what Allah is perfecting for you. Sometimes the trials you face are shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and closer to your Creator. The search for peace is not a journey outward, it is a journey inward, back to the one who knows you better than you know yourself. So if your heart is troubled today, remember this: peace is not far away. It begins the moment you say, Oh Allah, my heart is in your hands. Grant me the peace that only you can give. And by His mercy, that peace will come. True peace begins within, not around. This is one of the most powerful truths a person can learn in their lifetime, because many people live believing that peace is something that arrives only when life becomes perfectly calm, when problems disappear, when relationships are smooth, when finances improve, when health is stable, when everyone loves and understands them. But life is never designed to be free of challenges. The world itself is a mixture of ease and hardship, comfort and discomfort, joy and pain. If peace depended on everything going right around you, then no human being would ever taste it. Real peace begins from within the heart. It is an inner condition before it is an outer reality. A person can be surrounded by chaos, noise, conflict, and uncertainty, but still feel a sense of calm because their heart is anchored in something stronger than their situation. And on the other hand, someone can have everything people dream of: a comfortable home, wealth, respect, and even good health, yet inside they feel empty, restless, and unsettled. This shows that peace is not about what happens around you, but what resides inside you. A troubled heart is often troubled not because life is hard, but because the heart has not yet learned where to rest. When the heart ties its comfort to people, it will shake whenever people disappoint. When it ties itself to outcomes, it will panic whenever things don't go as planned. When it ties itself to material things, it will break whenever those things are lost. But when the heart finds its rest with the one who never changes, never disappears, and never fails, then it finds a type of peace that does not depend on circumstances. This inner peace is not a denial of reality. It doesn't mean you stop feeling sadness or fear. It doesn't mean you don't cry when things hurt. It means you are able to feel, to struggle, and still remain connected to a deeper certainty that Allah is with you, that He knows your heart better than you do, and that He is taking care of your affairs even when you cannot see it. This internal certainty becomes like a lamp that continues to shine even when the world around you goes dark. A peaceful heart is built slowly. It isn't something that arrives overnight. It begins with understanding that life will always include things you cannot control. When you accept that, instead of fighting reality, you learn to navigate it with wisdom. Many people lose their peace not because of what happened, but because of their constant resistance to what is already written. They replay situations in their mind. They worry about what hasn't happened. They carry guilt from the past and anxiety about the future. This inner battle drains their energy and steals their peace. The heart finds peace when it stops wrestling with what it cannot change and learns to trust the one who controls everything. Trusting Allah does not remove your challenges, but it removes the loneliness and panic within them. It transforms the way your heart experiences hardship. Instead of feeling abandoned, you feel guided. Instead of feeling broken, you feel protected. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you feel strengthened. Peace also begins inside when you clean out the heart from the things that poison it. Grudges, envy, hatred, arrogance, and the painful habit of comparing your life to others. These emotions create a storm within. No matter how calm life appears externally, a person might look peaceful from the outside, but if the heart is filled with resentment or jealousy, that person will always feel restless. You cannot carry heavy stones in your heart and expect to feel light. Letting go of these emotional burdens is part of building inner peace. Forgiveness, even when difficult, is a gift you give to your own heart. Wishing good for others expands your soul. Being content with what Allah has given you brings a sweetness that nothing else can match. Inner peace is not the absence of desire, but the absence of desperation. Desires are natural. Desperation comes from attaching your happiness to them. Another dimension of inner peace is understanding the temporary nature of the world. Much of our anxiety comes from thinking that everything we experience is permanent. But life moves, situations change, people grow, hard times eventually fade. When you remember that everything in this world is fleeting, your heart becomes less attached, less frightened, less reactive. You learn to flow with life instead of fighting against it. Inner peace is also strengthened by the way you speak to yourself. Many people are harsh, critical, and unkind in their inner dialogue. They replay their mistakes and speak to themselves in a way they would never speak to someone they love. This creates a heart that feels unsafe, even within its own chest. Peace grows when you treat yourself with compassion, acknowledging your struggles, forgiving your flaws, and encouraging yourself towards better. Most importantly, peace begins within when your heart is connected to its creator. When you fill the heart with remembrance, hope, trust, and sincere prayer, it becomes illuminated from inside. And a heart that is filled with light cannot easily be shaken by darkness around it. The world may not change, but you change. And that is where peace truly begins. True peace is an inside job. And when the heart finds it, no external storm can take it away. Turning back to Allah is the most powerful remedy for a troubled heart, because the heart was created by Him, sustained by Him, and designed to find its comfort only with Him. No matter how far a person feels, no matter how many mistakes they have made, no matter how long they have been away, the moment the heart turns back to its Creator, even with the smallest step, something begins to heal inside. It is like a dry land receiving its first drop of rain. The change is subtle, but it brings life. When a person reconnects with Allah, they are reconnecting with the source of peace, mercy, and guidance, and that connection alone begins a transformation that nothing else in the world can offer. Often when the heart is troubled, the last place people look is towards Allah. They try to fix their pain through distractions, habits, people, or achievements. They run from one thing to another, trying to fill a space that only the remembrance of Allah can truly fill. There is a reason the Quran says that hearts find rest in the remembrance of Allah. It is not simply a statement, it is a reality. The heart by its nature is restless until it leans on the one who created it. Just as the body needs food, the heart needs connection with Allah to stay alive, steady, and grounded. Turning back to Allah does not mean you must be perfect. It does not require you to have everything figured out. It does not demand a flawless past or a clean record. A heart that turns to Allah with sincerity is more beloved than a heart that tries to pretend it never falls. Allah loves the believer who struggles, who tries, who cries, who breaks, and then comes back again. Even the smallest effort is seen, valued, and rewarded. Sometimes a single tear shed out of sincerity does more for your heart than 1,000 moments of pretending to be strong. A troubled heart often feels distant from Allah because it believes the lie that mistakes have permanently ruined its relationship with Him. But Allah never closed His door. Even when you were far, even when you forgot Him, He never forgot you. The fact that you feel an urge to return is in itself a sign that His mercy is pulling you back. When Allah wants good for a person, He places restlessness in their heart until they turn to Him. That discomfort is not a punishment. It is an invitation. Returning to Allah brings peace because it brings clarity. Many people suffer in their hearts simply because they don't understand the meaning of their struggles. They ask, why me? Why now? Why this? But when you turn to Allah, you begin to see your challenges differently. They are no longer random events. They become moments of growth, purification, or protection. You start believing that if Allah wrote a hardship for you, He also wrote wisdom behind it. And that belief alone lightens the load on the heart. The heart also finds peace when it remembers who is really in control. Much of our anxiety comes from thinking everything depends on us, our effort, our plans, our strength. But when you reconnect with Allah, you realize that outcomes belong to Him. You are responsible for trying, but He is responsible for results. This brings a unique kind of tranquility, the tranquility of knowing you don't have to carry everything by yourself. You place your trust, your hopes, your fears, and your confusion in the hands of the one who can handle them perfectly. One of the most beautiful aspects of turning back to Allah is that you can return to Him in any state. Broken, confused, scared, ashamed, none of that pushes Him away. In fact, the more broken you feel, the more He invites you to come close. He is not like people who withdraw when you are at your lowest. He draws near. His mercy covers what people would criticize. His forgiveness heals what people would judge. His love embraces what people would reject. When you taste that, your heart begins to experience a peace it has been craving for years. Turning back to Allah also means allowing His words to reach your heart. A single verse from the Quran, read sincerely, can calm storms that have been raging inside for months. The Quran is not simply a book of commands, it is a book of healing. Many people read it with their eyes, but when you read it with your heart, slowly, sincerely, hoping for guidance, you will find verses that feel as though they were sent directly to your situation. This is not a coincidence. This is Allah speaking to the heart that has returned to Him. A heart that turns back to Allah also finds peace in dua. There is something profoundly healing about speaking to Allah, telling Him your fears, your secrets, your disappointments, your hopes, your weaknesses. Even though He already knows, He loves when you speak to Him. And the moment you do, the heart begins to release what it has been holding. Sometimes the peace you feel after dua is greater than the peace of receiving what you ask for, because reassurance itself is a blessing. Returning to Allah does not remove all problems from life, but it removes the loneliness, panic, and despair that come with those problems. It replaces them with strength, patience, resilience, and hope. It gives you the ability to stand again, to breathe again, to believe again. The world may remain challenging, but you no longer face it with an empty heart. You face it with a heart connected to the most merciful. Turning back to Allah is not a single moment. It is a journey. And with every step you take towards Him, He brings your heart closer to the peace it has been searching for. Letting go of what you cannot control is one of the most liberating steps a person can take toward inner peace, because much of the heart's heaviness comes from trying to manage what was never meant to be in our hands in the first place. Human beings naturally want certainty, security, and a sense of power over their lives, but life, by its very nature, is unpredictable. It brings surprises, challenges, delays, and outcomes we could never have planned. When the heart tries to control every detail, every person, every response, and every result, it becomes exhausted. The heart becomes like someone trying to hold on to water with tightly closed fists. The tighter the grip, the more it slips away. Letting go does not mean giving up. It does not mean you stop trying, stop caring, or stop hoping. It simply means understanding where your responsibility ends and where Allah's plan begins. You are responsible for your effort, your intentions, your sincerity, and your patience. You are not responsible for how people treat you, how life unfolds, or how certain outcomes turn out. When the heart mixes the two, it suffers. But when it separates them, it breathes. Peace enters when you stop forcing what is beyond your control and start trusting the one who controls everything. One of the reasons letting go is so difficult is because the heart often attaches itself to specific outcomes. It imagines a certain future, a certain person, a certain timeline, or a certain solution. It becomes convinced that happiness is only possible if life unfolds in the exact way it had pictured. When reality turns out differently, even if Allah's plan is better, the heart feels crushed. But the pain does not come from Allah's decree, it comes from our attachment to our own expectations. The heart suffers more from rigid expectations than from difficult experiences. Letting go means learning to hold dreams with an open hand. Want what you want, make dua for it, strive for it, but do not chain your heart to it. Say to yourself, if it is good for me, Allah will grant it. And if He withholds it, He will replace it with something better, something more suited to my path. This mindset does not weaken the heart, it strengthens it. It frees it from the fear of losing and opens it to the possibility of receiving something greater than it imagined. There are moments in life when letting go becomes necessary because holding on is causing more harm than good. For example, holding on to past mistakes, regrets, and failures keeps the heart trapped in moments that have already ended. The past cannot be changed, but it can be learned from, forgiven, and released. A person who constantly revisits their past hurts relives them again and again, even though Allah has already moved them forward. Letting go means accepting Allah's mercy and allowing yourself to walk into a new chapter without dragging the old one with you. Letting go also applies to people. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, and not every relationship is meant to continue in the same form. Sometimes you may try to fix a relationship that Allah is gently asking you to step away from. You may try to force closeness with someone whose presence is harming your heart, or you may hold on to someone simply because you fear the emptiness that comes after they leave. But holding on to what is breaking you only delays the healing that Allah has written for you. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop allowing your heart to be wounded in the same place over and over again. There is also the burden of trying to control how others perceive you. People spend so much emotional energy worrying about opinions, misunderstandings, and judgments. But the truth is you can do everything right and still be misunderstood. You can try your best and still be criticized. You can offer kindness and still receive coldness. People's reactions are not within your control. What you can control is your character, your sincerity, and your relationship with Allah. When you stop chasing people's approval and focus on Allah's approval, the heart becomes lighter. Letting go also includes accepting the unknown. Many hearts are troubled because they fear what they cannot see. They fear the future. What if things get worse? What if I fail? What if I choose the wrong path? But the future is not in your hands. Allah is already there. He knows the roads you will walk, the people you will meet, the opportunities you will receive, and the tests you will face. Fear comes when you believe you must navigate life alone. Peace comes when you trust that Allah is guiding your steps even when you don't understand the path. Sometimes letting go is not a single moment, but a daily practice. You may have to remind your heart every morning, this is not in my control, and that is okay. You may have to repeat it during moments of anxiety, disappointment, or uncertainty. With time, the heart learns to release rather than cling. And the more it releases what it cannot control, the more space it creates for faith, gratitude, and calmness. Letting go becomes easier when you realize that Allah never takes something from you without giving you something better. Maybe not immediately, maybe not in the way you want, but always in a way that is ultimately good for your heart, your growth, and your hereafter. Sometimes what you cling to is the very thing blocking the blessings meant for you. And sometimes what you fear losing is the very thing Allah is protecting you from. A heart that learns to let go is a heart that learns to trust. It learns that peace does not come from managing life, but from surrendering to the one who manages all affairs. It learns that life is a journey, not a guarantee. And it learns that strength is not in holding everything tightly, but in knowing when to release. When you let go of what you cannot control, you give your heart permission to rest, to breathe, and to find the peace that comes from relying on Allah above everything else. Gratitude is one of the most powerful gateways to peace, not because it magically removes problems, but because it shifts the heart's focus toward what brings strength instead of what drains it. A troubled heart often becomes overwhelmed by pain, loss, uncertainty, or disappointment. In such moments, the mind naturally gravitates toward what is missing, what has gone wrong, or what could go wrong. Gratitude interrupts this cycle. It gently turns the heart back toward what is still present, still working, still beautiful, and still given by Allah out of His mercy. Even in times of hardship, there are blessings that surround us. Some we see, many we don't, and acknowledging them begins to soften the tightness within the chest. Gratitude is not about pretending life is perfect. It's not about ignoring your sadness, denying your struggles, or forcing a smile when your heart is breaking. Real gratitude is deeper and far more honest. It is the ability to look at your pain and say, even in this, Allah has given me something to hold on to. It is recognizing that hardships, as heavy as they feel, are not a sign of abandonment, but a part of a bigger wisdom that the heart may not yet understand. Gratitude does not erase your challenges, but it gives you the emotional strength to face them with a calmer heart. When you begin to practice gratitude, even in small ways, something shifts inside. The same situation starts to feel lighter because you are no longer feeding your heart with constant negativity. You begin to notice blessings you used to overlook, the ability to breathe, to walk, to see, to think, to pray, to understand, to be guided. You notice the people who care, the simple comforts around you, the opportunities you still have, and the doors that Allah has not closed. Gratitude opens your eyes to the reality that even when life feels difficult, Allah continues to send countless reasons for you to stay hopeful. One of the reasons gratitude brings peace is because it pushes the heart toward perspective. Many times the heart feels broken not because things are objectively terrible, but because the heart has been focusing on a single difficulty while ignoring 100 blessings. Gratitude widens the lens. It reminds you that hardship is only one part of your story. It is not the whole story. You may be struggling in one area but excelling in another. You may have lost something, but you still have many things that others are praying for. You may be in pain now, but you've been protected from countless unseen harms. Gratitude also has a profound spiritual dimension. When you thank Allah, even for small things, you are acknowledging His presence in your life. You are recognizing that He is taking care of you, sustaining you, guiding you, and placing mercy in your path in ways you may not always notice. This connection creates a sense of closeness, a sense that Allah is near and that His blessings continue to flow, even when circumstances feel heavy. This awareness alone can calm a troubled heart. Another beautiful effect of gratitude is that it increases contentment. Contentment does not mean you stop wishing for better. It means you stop tying your happiness to what you don't have. Many hearts suffer because they constantly compare their lives to others. Social media, society, expectations, all of these create illusions that someone else has a perfect life. But gratitude protects the heart from envy and comparison. It teaches you to value your own blessings rather than wishing for someone else's. And the moment envy fades, peace begins to enter. Gratitude is not only a feeling, it is also a practice. It requires intention. It requires training. The heart needs to be reminded often because it easily slips into negativity. But with consistency, gratitude becomes a habit. A person who regularly reflects on blessings becomes stronger, more patient, and more resilient in the face of trials. They complain less, appreciate more, and develop a deeper trust in Allah's plan. At times, gratitude itself becomes difficult, especially when the heart is deeply hurt. In such moments, it helps to start small. Instead of trying to be grateful for everything, be grateful for one thing, one breath, one moment of calm, one person who cares, one meal, one prayer, one ray of light. Even a tiny act of gratitude can open the heart to more. When you thank Allah for one blessing, He shows you another. When you acknowledge what you have, you begin to notice blessings you had forgotten existed. A grateful heart is also a hopeful heart. It looks at what Allah has already given and says, if He has taken care of me before, He will take care of me again. Gratitude strengthens faith in Allah's mercy. And that faith itself becomes a source of peace. When you remember how many times Allah has protected you, forgiven you, supported you, and answered your prayers, you become less fearful of what lies ahead. You learn to trust that the one who blessed you yesterday will bless you tomorrow. Moreover, gratitude attracts more good. When you focus on blessings, you naturally feel more motivated, more energized, and more emotionally stable. You treat people better, and in return, life feels lighter. You handle stress more calmly. You see opportunities where others see obstacles. This is not magic. It is the natural result of a heart that is nourished with positivity and remembrance. Ultimately, gratitude is an act of worship. It is a way of saying to Allah, I see your kindness in my life. And Allah promises that when you thank Him, He will increase you, not only in blessings, but also in peace, strength, and inner stability. Gratitude helps the troubled heart not by changing the situation, but by changing the way the heart experiences it. When the heart is trained to see blessings even in hardship, it becomes a heart that heals, grows, and finds peace, even in the most difficult days. Patience and prayer are two of the strongest foundations for inner peace, especially when the heart feels overwhelmed, confused, or weighed down by life's struggles. These two qualities are not passive responses. They are active forms of healing. Patience is not simply waiting. It is waiting with trust. It is enduring with dignity. It is moving forward with a heart that believes Allah's timing is always wiser than our own. Prayer, on the other hand, is not merely a ritual. It is a lifeline, a conversation, a connection that brings light to the darkest corners of the heart. When patience and prayer come together, the heart gains a strength that does not crumble under pressure. A troubled heart often finds impatience tempting. When life becomes difficult, people naturally want quick solutions, immediate relief, fast results. They want their du'as answered instantly, their problems fixed quickly, and their pain to disappear overnight. But Allah, in His wisdom, does not always grant immediate change. Sometimes He delays because He is protecting you. Sometimes He delays because the heart needs to grow before the blessing arrives. Sometimes He delays because what you want is not yet ready for you, or you are not yet ready for it. Patience teaches the heart to surrender to this divine wisdom instead of resisting it. The heart finds peace when it understands that patience is not a punishment but a process. Just as a seed takes time to sprout, every prayer and every effort takes time to bear fruit. You may not see change immediately, but something is happening behind the scenes. Your character is being strengthened. Your faith is being polished. Your heart is being purified. Your direction is being aligned. Allah never asks you to be patient because nothing is happening. He asks you to be patient because He knows what is coming. Patience also brings peace because it prevents the heart from panicking. A person who lacks patience often reacts emotionally to every difficulty. They become frustrated quickly, hopeless easily, and angry at the slightest setback. This emotional turbulence steals peace, but patience teaches calmness. It teaches the heart to pause, breathe, and trust. It teaches you to say, this moment is tough, but it is temporary. Allah knows what I do not know. With that mindset, even the sharpest pain becomes easier to carry. But patience alone is not enough. The heart also needs prayer, because patience without prayer can feel like silent suffering. Prayer is where the heart releases what it can no longer hold. It is where you lay your fears, your confusion, your heartbreak, and your hopes before the one who understands you fully. It is where you admit your weakness and find strength in His power. Every time you stand in prayer, you are reminding your heart, I am not alone. There is a unique peace that comes from prayer because it is an intimate moment with Allah. Even when the words tremble, even when the tears flow, even when your voice breaks, prayer is heard. Allah listens to every whisper, every sigh, every unspoken plea. Sometimes the peace you feel after praying is not because the problem is solved, but because the heart feels seen, heard, and held by its Creator. That feeling alone can lift a heavy heart. Prayer realigns the heart. It takes you away from the noise of the world and brings you back to the one who controls all outcomes. It breaks the illusion that you must carry everything alone. It reminds you that while you are limited, Allah is limitless. While you are tired, Allah never tires. While you may not know the way forward, Allah has already written your path with perfect precision. When patience and prayer come together, the heart becomes balanced. Patience prevents you from rushing into anxiety, and prayer prevents you from falling into despair. Patience teaches acceptance, while prayer teaches hope. Together, they create a calmness that allows you to walk through hardship without losing yourself. They bring clarity to confusion. They bring comfort to pain. They bring purpose to trials. There are moments when patience feels impossible. Days when your heart feels too heavy, too tired, too broken. In those moments, prayer becomes even more important. Even if you cannot find the perfect words, even if all you can say is, oh Allah, help me, that is enough. Allah's mercy is not measured by the beauty of your words, but by the sincerity of your heart. Patience is also strengthened through prayer, because every prayer is a reminder that relief ultimately comes from Allah. When you raise your hands in dua, you are acknowledging that the solution is not in your control, and that is a form of humility that brings peace. When you put your forehead on the ground in sujood, you are lowering the heart in a way that lifts its burden. In those moments, the heart finds peace not because the situation has changed, but because you have changed. Over time, patience and prayer transform the heart. They make it more resilient. They create a deeper trust in Allah. They help you see hardships as chapters, not dead ends. They teach you that your story is still unfolding and that Allah is guiding you even when you do not understand how. Ultimately, patience and prayer are gifts from Allah, designed to protect your heart from breaking under the weight of life. Through them, the heart learns that every delay has wisdom, every hardship has purpose, and every step taken with Allah leads toward peace. When our heart holds on to patience and leans into prayer, it becomes a heart that can weather any storm with grace, strength, and quiet confidence. Healing takes time. This is a reality that the heart must learn to accept, especially when it feels broken, restless, or burdened by life's trials. Many people look for instant solutions, immediate relief, or quick fixes, believing that a troubled heart should be soothed overnight. Yet the heart is not a machine that can be repaired in a single moment. It is a living, sensitive, complex creation that absorbs experiences, remembers wounds, and processes emotions slowly. The process of healing is gradual, and rushing it often prolongs the pain rather than shortening it. Patience, therefore, is not merely a virtue. It is a necessity when seeking peace of the heart. A heart that has been hurt requires understanding and care. The wounds of life, whether caused by loss, betrayal, disappointment, or regret, cannot simply be erased. They leave impressions that must be acknowledged, felt, and gently processed. Ignoring them, suppressing them, or pretending they do not exist may create the illusion of strength, but it does not heal. True healing begins with recognition, recognizing the pain, admitting the hurt, and allowing yourself to feel without judgment. This is the first step in granting your heart the time it needs to recover. Healing is also a journey of gradual transformation. When a person experiences heartbreak or distress, it is tempting to compare their timeline to others. Why am I still hurting? They ask. Why has relief not come? But every heart is unique, and every experience is tailored to the individual by Allah. What heals one person quickly may take years for another. This is not a measure of weakness. It is a reflection of the divine wisdom behind life's trials. The heart needs time to adapt, to learn, and to regain its balance. Each day that passes, even if progress seems invisible, is a step toward restoration. One reason healing takes time is that the heart must release what it has been holding on to. Often, a troubled heart carries not only current pain, but also the accumulation of past wounds, regrets, fears, and disappointments. Each of these layers adds weight, making it impossible for peace to arrive suddenly. Healing requires peeling away these layers gently, allowing the heart to forgive, to let go, and to find closure. This is why rushing recovery or expecting immediate peace is unrealistic. The heart must move at its own pace. Healing also involves learning from the process. Pain is not meaningless even when it feels unbearable. Each challenge, each loss, each moment of difficulty carries a lesson for the heart. Sometimes the lesson is patience. Sometimes it is resilience. Sometimes it is gratitude. Sometimes it is trust. The heart gains strength, not by avoiding hardship, but by facing it, reflecting upon it, and emerging wiser. This learning cannot be forced. It develops gradually as the heart experiences life fully and sincerely. Another aspect of healing is the renewal of trust. Trust in Allah, trust in people, and trust in life itself. A heart that has been wounded may become fearful, suspicious, or hesitant. Healing takes time because it requires rebuilding these forms of trust. Trust cannot be hurried. It is cultivated slowly through small acts of faith, through moments of prayer, through experiences that remind the heart that mercy and goodness still exist. Every step taken in rebuilding trust is a step toward peace. Healing also demands self-compassion. Often the heart that is wounded blames itself for what has happened. It whispers doubts and harsh criticisms. Yet time teaches the heart that self-compassion is crucial. Healing is not about rushing to feel better. It is about treating yourself gently, forgiving yourself for mistakes, and allowing space to breathe, cry, and reflect. The passage of time softens the heart, making it more capable of accepting imperfections and embracing growth. Another reason healing takes time is because it is often intertwined with hope. The heart must learn to believe that relief will come, that pain will pass, and that brighter days await. Hope cannot be hurried. It must be nurtured gradually, often through prayer, reflection, and witnessing small blessings that remind the heart that Allah's mercy is constant. This slow cultivation of hope allows the heart to regain stability without becoming fragile or dependent on temporary solutions. Healing is not linear. There will be days of progress and days of setback. A heart may feel stronger in the morning and weaker by evening. This is normal. Time allows the heart to adjust to these fluctuations, to learn resilience and to build endurance. Each moment of struggle that is met with patience becomes a brick in the foundation of a stronger, more peaceful heart. Finally, healing is a testament to Allah's wisdom. The time it takes to heal is not wasted. It is part of the divine plan. The heart learns humility, patience, and reliance on the one who knows best. As the heart heals gradually, it develops a deeper appreciation for peace, a greater empathy for others, and a stronger connection with Allah. What once felt like unbearable pain becomes a source of strength and insight. The heart that has healed over time understands its own fragility and resilience, and in that understanding it finds lasting peace. In the end, the heart must remember that healing is not a race. It is a journey guided by Allah, unfolding at the pace that is best for you. Every tear, every moment of reflection, every act of patience, and every prayer is part of the restoration process. Time is the gentle hand that restores what was broken, the patient teacher that instills wisdom, and the silent companion that brings peace. When a troubled heart allows time to do its work, it discovers that peace is not a distant dream. It is a gradual awakening within, crafted slowly, tenderly, and perfectly by the one who knows the heart best. In conclusion, the journey to a peaceful heart is not found in shortcuts, possessions, or the approval of others. It begins within, by turning inward to the Creator who knows every struggle and every silent tear. It grows through patience, prayer, gratitude, and the courage to let go of what is beyond our control. Healing takes time, and the heart must be gentle with itself as it navigates life's trials. Every step toward Allah, every moment of reflection, every act of trust and surrender brings the heart closer to the serenity it has been longing for. True peace is not the absence of hardship, but the presence of faith, hope, and trust in the one who holds all affairs. When the heart embraces this, it discovers that even amidst life's storms, a calm, steady, and unwavering peace can reside within. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.